Welcome to the Living Unconventionally podcast. I'm Chris Piak, your host, and today we meet another wonderful world traveler who chases her passion around the world. Welcome, Erica Duran. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm very glad and very excited to have you. Erica is a world traveler herself. She also has her own podcast, The Erica Duran Show, that you can check out on all the usual channels. And you combine two passions of mine. First of all, you travel all over the world in a very fascinating way. And also you are a coach yourself. And you help women especially to fulfill their own dreams. And we will use today's podcast to talk about both of these passions a little bit. But first, before we start, do you remember the first time you went on a big trip, the first thing that struck you as, oh, this is new?
Yeah, I actually do. And it kind of set my whole brand. My brand is kind of Hawaiian. When I was little, my mom was a travel agent. And my first big trip when I was 5 outside of the mainland was to Hawaii. And there, it just hit me even at 5 that we were traveling with just a suitcase of stuff. We didn't have all our things from home. I didn't have all my toys. And we were having more fun than back at home. So right when I was 5, I realized that being a minimalist was for me because, here we were in Hawaii having all this fun and we didn't have any of our things. And I also realized how uncluttered but luxurious the resorts were. And that's how I kind of became, my little phrase, minimalist luxury, is where that comes from even.
Oh, you were a super smart kid already back then.
I don't think I realized it at the time, but looking back, I do remember having those thoughts, but I couldn't put them to words at the time.
Obviously, yeah. Do you remember, because I'm curious, I have a small son, my daughter is on her way, will be born in July. I'm just fascinated. We travel quite a lot by the experiences that we can share with our child, with our son. I wonder, at 5, did you realize how far away from home you were? Or was it basically down the street, down to the shop, down to Hawaii, all the same?
No, I think I realized it just from looking at maps and things that how far that was. I think I grasped that.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about yourself now. We know already you started traveling from an early age. We know that you are extraordinarily smart from an early age. What else should we know about Erica?
I really love helping people get the life they want and actually live their dreams and not just sit around on the couch and think about it or sit in their car commuting and thinking about it. This just drives me nuts. It's like they're wasting their lives. And that's what drove me into this work, was this passion for getting people to do what they say they're going to do and doing what they want. And the other side of that is I've always been surrounded by, unfortunately, a lot of death in my families and pets and everything, just a tremendous amount. So that just kind of heightened the speed of me doing things, I think, was that I know it's going to be over sooner than later, sooner than we want. That's what really drives me. But as a more common answer to the question, I'm a digital nomad. I work on my laptop most of the time. I have 2 little dogs that I sometimes travel with when I'm not in Hawaii. I just bought a Jeep so I could take them more comfortably, 2 little mini dachshunds, and we stay at different Airbnbs and resorts.
Mm-hmm. I want to come back to this point. We will talk about your travels and your adventures, of course. But you mentioned this, you were very aware that life is short and we basically can live it only once. It's not a computer game where you can save and reload.
Right.
That really strikes a chord with me because I have the same. I have on my website on a hidden place a countdown. And the countdown is to the day when statistically a man of my age will die. And it's at the moment something about 12,200 days. And I look at it quite regularly to remind me about the fact what is really important in my life. Because money, when you lose money, you can get always new money. A job, when you lose a job, you can always find a new job and you will always find a new opportunity. But experiences and love and friendship and doing what really defines you, that stuff that never comes back. So I can really empathize with this. In your own life, what's the one thing that you want to do more than anything else? The one thing that drives you through all these travels?
The thing that drives me through the travels is to shake up my environments to spark my creativity, because I fall into ruts really quickly. And I know immediately when I get into a new environment that I have fresh ideas for my life and business. I have fresh ideas for my clients. I feel better. I'm more aware. I'm more present. And I know in an instant I can do that. So that's even why I require sometimes my clients to travel, because I know what an impact it'll make on their creativity and their fresh ideas.
So you make a description for travel?
In one of my programs, it's a VIP experience, and that's where we actually meet in person and do the work in a beautiful environment. That's just one of my packages, but that's the most successful as far as clients getting results, because I just know, and that's why I made that package, was because I know that they're going to have amazing results if they shake up their environment and get out of their rut for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us an example where you saw this change?
Yeah, I had a client. She was a professional organizer. I work with a lot of that kind of career-oriented person. She was basically just charging $50 an hour, chasing client to client to client. But on this VIP experience, we were able to put different packages together where she's now making about $20,000 a month, which is pretty much unheard of for a professional organizer unless they have some big famous TV show or book or something. So it's pretty unheard of in that industry. And it just really up-leveled her whole lifestyle and the way she did business, her confidence, her clarity in herself, her seeing the value in her own work. That's one story that sticks out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If I try to imagine how this works, how does it look like? I mean, we jump a little bit ahead now because obviously we also want to hear about the beautiful places that you visited. But since we are on this topic, if I use your service to, first of all, who am I? What kind of person would benefit the most from working with you? And how would it look like?
Yeah, sure. Usually a woman from about age 30 to 60, I guess. Usually probably women in their 30s and 40s that either want to take their business online if it's not already online, or they want to just improve their income and their business systems and structures and how they do things. We either work, I have several packages, but we either work through unlimited coaching through WhatsApp, because I don't believe people should just have sessions and that's all the help they get. So it's just unlimited support through WhatsApp, and they can schedule calls whenever they want. Or we have these VIP experiences where it's usually 3 days, because I want them to settle in the first day, then have their full coaching day, and then have a anchoring day to wrap everything up and to anchor everything in. I don't want them to rush home back to their rut so quickly. So those are the two major ways that I work with women. And it's usually building their idea, piecing all their ideas together that they've been having for years and putting it into reality. And also a lot of mindset work so that they can stay the course and actually complete this business idea and get through all the big, scary things that you have to do.
Which is usually the biggest challenge. No? It's not to learn what to do, but it's to actually do it and then stick with it, because nothing is easy right from the start.
Right. Conquering their their fears and all kinds of stuff. Sometimes I feel like a psychiatrist.
Yeah, they're very similar things sometimes. What is a typical problem that they struggle with when they come to you?
Time and time again, it's that they build their brand and their website, and they get their photo shoot done for their website, and they get all their social media set up, and they just set everything up. But when it's time to actually launch and start contacting clients and start selling, that's when they kind of quit or come up with a lot of excuses. In almost every case, that's the point. They love setting things up, and they love, I kind of call it, they love playing business and like playing house when they were little. But when it really comes down to starting their business and getting clients and getting money, they clam up and retreat from there.
What do you think that is?
Oh, I think it's all fear-based. They don't want to come off as pushy or salesy or charging too much, or they have self-doubt about what they're selling or their capabilities or their expertise. So it's all fear-based, but it's the biggest block that I see, especially women having.
Yeah, I was just thinking while you were sharing this experience. This is one thing. I'm also a business coach, and I work with international professionals who are looking for a job, mostly in Germany, but also in other parts of the European Union.
Mhm.
And in Germany, to get a job, even though we have lots of jobs, is extremely hard if you don't speak German, because only 1% of jobs are in English. That means that you actually literally have to sell yourself. You have to reach out to managers and ignore HR and to convince them that you might be the right person. And a lot of people that I work with, they have the same fears. They feel like selling their service, in this case, is somehow something dirty also.
Mhm.
Because they come with the idea that, oh, I have to push something on someone. When in reality, if you do it properly, it's about finding out what another person really needs and them getting them what they need, helping them.
Right. It's just about finding a fit, and if you can help the person or not, or you can contribute or not. It's not anything sleazy.
Exactly. Now we have dealt with business a little bit. Is there something that's really close to your heart that you want to share with our listeners, especially those who might want to make the step, Women who have a great idea for a business that they love, who want to take the step into a location-independent lifestyle. What's your number one advice to them before we move on and talk about the more beautiful things in life, like traveling?
Okay, sure. I'd say the most important thing is to actually get out and do it. I said this on another show, don't be a couchpreneur, because I've seen everything work. So every business idea that people have brought to me has worked. It might be taking some pivoting and tweaking, or it might not look exactly how you want it to look in the end, but I can't think of someone that it just didn't work, that their business idea was ridiculous and it just didn't work. So if everything works, why not do it?
Exactly. And the market tells you if it works or not.
Right.
And you listen to the market, you adjust, and then you do something new, change some things, and it will in the end always work out.
Yeah, I truly believe that every idea will work. It might take some massaging, but everything works. So why not just start?
Now, you are a minimalist, which again, something is I can relate to very well to. Did you also make this experience that freeing yourself from all this clutter in your life, freeing yourself from a lot of stuff, obligations, and so on, that this is actually a very important part of being an entrepreneur, especially if you want to be able to live free and see the world?
I think it is. I think the biggest thing for me was it helped my focus, and entrepreneurs have horrible focus as a group. A lot of them have horrible focus, and it really, just think of when you want to buy something. You research it, and then you have to find the money for it, and then you buy it, and then you have to find a place for it, and then you have to insure it, and then you have to take care of it and clean it and maintain it. And then when you're done with it, you have to dispose of it. So it's just so much effort going into buying a thing and just the constant care of it. And I just wasn't up for it anymore. Years ago, like 20 years ago, I had the typical picket fence house, 2 cars and all the latest electronics and all the spring sheets and winter sheets and different plates for different seasons and all kinds of very Martha Stewart things. And I sold everything and the house to first move to an apartment at a beach in Newport Beach, California. And then even downsized from there to where I don't even have a permanent residence anymore. I just stay at Airbnbs and resorts that sponsor my podcast. So everything I own fits in my Jeep, and the dogs take up half of the room because they're little seats and stuff. So yeah, I don't have like my own silverware or anything. So
But do you miss it?
No, not at all. I don't even remember that I had it. So I'll see photographs of things I used to have and be like, oh my gosh, I did have that. I did have stuff like that. And I was wrapped up in that. Yeah, I don't miss it at all.
Yeah, I see this in our lives here in Germany as well. We live in Düsseldorf, which is close to the Netherlands. For example, we have car sharing services here in Düsseldorf. And my car, I drive about 12,000 kilometers per year, which means I drive my car to bring my son to the kindergarten and to pick him up. And then on the weekend, I drive my car to buy groceries. And in order to do this, we have to spend a lot of money on the car. We have to make down payments every month on the loan. We have to pay insurance. We have to get it checked constantly. You have to renew the license plate and so on and so on. And we really think about getting rid of it and simply use car sharing services because they're everywhere in Düsseldorf. And you use them. They're always in top condition. You drive a really beautiful car. And when you don't leave it anymore, you can just leave it and forget about it. You don't even have to buy a parking ticket because that's included in the price. And that's actually a much more healthy lifestyle because you don't need to own stuff. You just need to be able to use it when you want.
Exactly. I actually was between cars and did that for 6 months. And it just, for my lifestyle, it was costing more than making payments on a car. So I chose to go ahead and purchase one. But yeah, for 6 months, I did feel that freedom of not having a car situation and not having to deal with maintenance and payments and all that.
Erica, you mentioned your podcast, the Erica Durant Show, and you mentioned that Airbnbs and resorts, they sponsor your travels. That's really awesome. How did that happen? How did you even start to find these sponsors, and how did it affect how you travel?
Yeah, well, you know how much work podcasts are, and I was not going to do one unless I monetized it right away because I knew it was going to be a lot of work. And the other side of it was, at the time, I couldn't afford to live in luxury type accommodations, but I desperately wanted to. And I was just asking myself, well, how can I do this sooner than later? How can I do it anyway, even though I can't afford it? And the podcast sponsorship idea came up. And just as a side note, I have the Erica Durant Show in an archive formation, and then we're coming out with a new show next week that's called the Erica Durant Show Unscripted. So if you're looking around on iTunes, there's going to be 2. Next week, there's going to be 2 options.
Check it out.
Yeah, thank you. One of my favorite resorts was the Hilton Waikoloa in Hawaii. They actually started following me on Twitter, and I just reached out to them and asked if I could launch the show from there, because I thought that would mean a lot to me and be an even bigger promotion point for the resort. So we just worked together on that launch, and it went from there. So then I had that credibility under my belt, and I could go to other resorts. Side note, I was a hotel executive for 15 years, so I kind of knew how to talk to their people, so to speak, because I knew what their goals are as a hotel operator, and I could speak to their goals.
Hmm. That's really interesting. Share with us some of the places that you have been to that really left a memory in your mind.
Yeah, well, I mostly do stay in sunny type beachy oceany places. I happen to be in Arizona right now, but that's another story. But I often go to Hawaii and the Caribbean and lived in California for a long time. A memory, though, would be when I was at the Hilton Waikoloa on the Big Island. I filmed a bunch of videos for my business, and I think it just set the brand apart, and that confidence and clarity that a lot of women are missing that make them afraid of sales and things. I think having that helped me overcome a lot of fears and confidence issues and things because I had such beautiful video backdrops. I know it might sound silly, but that it really did help me through.
Hmm. Because you prove to yourself that you have something worthy to offer, or
Yeah, yeah. And another memory, if you want to get more personal, when my father was passing away, I went to Montana to kind of see him for the last time. And there was just the most beautiful rainstorm happening at this outdoor cafe. We were at an outdoor cafe, and it's just beautiful, beautiful rainstorm that broke apart and was just golden sunlight after that. And it was just, obviously, I remember it well because it was such a heightened emotional time that he was, going to pass away soon. So that is one that sticks in my mind and comes up when people ask me sometimes.
yeah. I can imagine that at times like these you appreciate life much, much more. Now you have traveled quite a lot. Let us join you on some of your travels and see some of the places that you love the most through your eyes and the experiences that you have made there. One of my interview guests, Maureen Moss, she once made a list of the 100 best moments of her life. And she stopped something at like moment 120 or something. If you would make such a list, what would be absolutely on top, the number one most cherished memory experience of your life regarding to travel?
So that's a great book or blog post, the 100 most places. That would be a great thing to write about. Yeah, I hate to keep going back to Hawaii, but there's just something about the energy there that I keep going back there, and it's a big part of my life. I don't know if I could pinpoint one.
In which moments do you experience this energy?
It's mostly when you're kayaking or hiking or just exploring. It's not so much anything in a brochure. It's usually something more cultural than what's in the brochure or a, staged luau or something like that.
When was the last time that you had this feeling? When you realized, oh, wow, yeah, here's something going on?
Let's see. Well, the flip side of that is I always say that the ocean has a very powerful energy, but it's also feels kind of busy. And now I'm in the desert, and there's also this calming energy, but it doesn't feel as busy. It's a very strong energy. So, yeah, I feel it yesterday hiking around in the desert.
Okay. I have never been to Arizona. Can you describe a little bit this place where you felt this?
Yeah, it's a steep incline canyon, and there's burros running around. You have burros, a little like donkeys, horse things.
Hmm.
It's just sun and dry, super dry air and cactuses and everything you would think a cliche desert to be.
Hmm. So now you're there. You're in Arizona. You're standing in the desert on the donkey path. So there's a cactus on your right, cactus on your left. You take a deep breath. What goes through your head in that moment?
Usually, I just appreciating what I'm looking at, but I am human, so my brain shifts on and off from being present to what I'm going to do next or what I'm going to write about next. Something work related, but I try to stay present as much as possible, but I still slip up as any human and slip back into work and current things a lot.
That was a very honest answer because that's just how we are. We achieve this moment of inner peace, and a second later we are back to where we are. So it just shows that life is something where we work on ourselves every day again.
It's I hate to say a battle, but it's a battle to stay present when you are witnessing something like that.
Erica Duran was this from the Erica Duran Show. Erica, where can people find you?
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, all my links are at ericaduran.co. So if you want to find my Instagram or anything, the best thing to do is go to ericaduran.co, and all the links are there for everything else.
Thank you very much, Erica. My name is Chris Piak. I'm the host of the Living Unconventionally podcast. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast yet, please do it now, because every Monday we share a new experience of a travel-loving, adventure-seeking young woman or man who chases her or his passion around the world. Subscribe now, and we hear each other again with a new episode next Monday. Bye-bye.